I'm Mark Robertson back with you talking about my book, Carrying Lawn Chairs, Youth Sports and Other Parental Mindsets. It's divided into two parts. The first part of the book we've gone over. It's dealing with youth sports, parents, and all the things that go on with that, and how I am largely against organized youth sports, especially for very young kids. I think it's detrimental. I don't think there's things you can do to improve it. I think it's better that kids play authentically in the backyard, kick the ball around themselves, have a good time. I don't think they like organized youth sports. I don't think they benefit much from it. I think it's they get burnt out on sports by the time they get old enough to play actual organized youth sports. I'm not against it at an older age. I wouldn't start them, like I say, I've said this a number of times, at least double digits, 10, maybe even 12 to get them into organized sports. But today's subject, we're in the second part of the book where we were talking about a number of other things related to parenting, not necessarily associated with youth sports. Today, I'm going to talk about the broad topic of boundaries. Yes, kids need authentic play, and we've talked about that throughout the entire book, but this doesn't mean they can just run free and do what they want and with whomever they want and get in trouble and all that. There has to be boundaries. Parents have to tell their kids, where they can go, how long they can be there, who they can play with. And it's a balancing act. I mean, you can't be hovering parents over them all the time, except for very young kids. You got to keep an eye on them all the time. But, they got to have some freedom, but they also have to have some boundaries. They can't be riding bicycles in busy streets. I've had a thing on trampolines. I mean, I've seen trampolines. There's rules, one kid at a time. Well, you go there and you see 5 or 6 kids jumping on it, and it's 5 feet off the ground. They could do a backflip and really get hurt, and kids do get hurt on that. So there has to be rules, and it's just a common sense thing, and parents have to be vigilant. But again, kids should be able to go out and have free play, invent, play outdoors, have an imagination, see the awe and wonder of the world. But at the same time, they can have boundaries. The parents can tell them, you got to be back by 5 o'clock. You can't go to this neighborhood. You got to stay in this certain area. You can't play with these kids because we don't think they're the best influence on you. And yes, kids are influenced by kids their age, peers. Peer pressure is as strong as ever. And then you got all the media influence and everything else. So it's a tough effort, tough battle, but it's one parents should fight to have boundaries and both mental, physical, and spiritual and moral boundaries. Safety is an utmost concern. But I mentioned morality. There should be moral boundaries as well. Parents should tell their kids you shouldn't be involved in this kind of activity. Smoking, drinking, watching bad things on the TV or other things like that, immoral things on TV, or being involved in immoral behavior at a young age or any age. And so there are boundaries in those areas as well. There's always boundaries that kids need to be told about. And the secret is kids want boundaries. They want to be told what's right and wrong. And parents can do it in a way that's very reassuring. It doesn't have to be goody two-shoes. And it doesn't have to be strict disciplinarian. It can be just firm and telling kids this is right, this is wrong, period. It's because this is what we believe, and this is what we think is right and wrong based on the Bible, based on tradition in the family, in the church, in the community. And kids would like to have boundaries in these areas. And in our society today, we can see a lot of kids don't have boundaries, and we see the often even deadly consequences of that. Kids need boundaries. They need to be taught the right way to live. And that's the major part of parenting. And so that was our topic for today. It's a very broad topic covered in a short amount of time. It's common sense. It's caring. It's continuing to learn. It's trying and even failing. Parents are not perfect. Sometimes you're going to be too strict. Sometimes you're not going to be strict enough. It's just an ongoing learning process and a balancing act. And parents, it's not easy, but that's what we should strive for. And boundaries are necessary, especially in this day and age, and in any day and age, for kids and for all of us, actually. So thanks again. We'll see you next time. I'm Mark Robertson. My book, Carrying Lawn Chairs. It's available at all the sites, Amazon, and you can check it out. And we'll be going over each chapter in the book, but the book is valuable as well. So thanks again for joining us today.